I've lived in smaller places than this before. Spent half my 20s squashed in shoebox rooms, sleeping on bare mattresses. I didn't think I'd go back to it so soon. But this is a good small space. Just needs a couple mirrors here or there. My mum, she'd probably say I've gone mad letting go of the last place, but I couldn't have stayed. The garden needed so much maintenance and the space was way too big for just two people. I would spend most of my weekends dusting the damn thing just for it to sit empty for the whole week, collecting more dust. I even managed to get this cheaper than the market price. The estate agents didn't need that much convincing. Apparently, they struggled to rent it for quite some time. Weirdly, the previous tenant moved out just a month after renting it. You see, at first I thought there was something seriously wrong. So I checked for any hidden leaks, mold, but no. Seems like a good flat. But it is in the middle of nowhere. I had hoped there'd be more bars around, maybe a shopping centre. I really should have labelled these. It was much easier to divide everything in half than I expected. Didn't end up fighting over the crockery. Liz was busy, of course. Kid's birthday party. And I think I managed just fine on my own. And I'm sure she'd make fun of my ornaments. I managed to finish the bedroom and the bathroom already. It's a good thing the car was in my name. Imagine taking all this on the bus. I did have to do a couple of round trips, but he was at work, so it wasn't too awkward. Might just post the keys back. Imagine what he's done to the place. He was always so uptight. If there'd ever be a towel left on the floor, I wouldn't have heard the end of it. In some ways, this whole thing is a chance for me to Everybody always tells you how much stress it is and how much resentment you get and how much paperwork and discussions you need to have. But if half of all marriages break up, it can't be that complicated. Not with everything online nowadays. Only took me a week to get an agreement on this flat. I've always believed that your first night in a new place affects your entire stay. And I don't know what this means, but yesterday, I could have sworn I heard a slight patter, like footsteps, making quiet noises on the wooden floor. It's silly, I know, but this place, I have a good feeling about it. Afterwards, we were laying in bed and the pipe started to make a howling noise, like, woo, woo. And that's when he said, without any prompting from me, sounds like this place is definitely haunted. I met him on Tinder. He only had some photos with his friends by the pool, so I asked which one is him, and he said, wouldn't that take all the mystery out of it? Peter and I met at school, so there wasn't any mystery there. Hannah from the office said it's because he's the short one. We ended up meeting at the Metro Lounge, and if Hannah asks, he was the one on the right. I thought I might be a bit rusty, but he's got a small flat with his friend above the stationery shop, and he just started doing stand-up at the Crown. You're never too old to start something new. By the third beer, it all got a bit more, you know, over in the bathrooms. Jesus, some of the things people write on the walls in the men's toilets. Somehow we managed to get a taxi back to my flat, and that's when he started talking about the place being haunted. I said, oh, it's just the pipes making weird noises at night, and he said yes, but the noises only confirmed what he already felt on his way in. I couldn't believe it's not just me who has these weird feelings, because the footsteps at night still happen, and sometimes they're in the bathroom and sometimes they're in the kitchen, and I've tried to explain it to myself, but there is no logical answer. So I told him how the other day I was taking the box of toys into the shed, and later that night I heard a lullaby from one of the teddy bears, which is so bizarre because you have to click the button for it to work. It could not have been an accident. I then asked him if he believed in the afterlife, or what does he think happens after death? But I think I must have lost him somewhere along the way, because he just said, what did you need that box for? I just shook my head and asked him if he wanted another drink, which he did. I found her on the town's Facebook group. Very useful, that page. A couple of weeks ago, Ackroyd's posted a job for an assistant manager in their accounts department. I thought assistant manager might be a bit of a step up, but the interview went well. I even joked that with me being single at my age made it more likely I could stick with the company, not have to take any months off anytime soon. Now, I'm sure that impacted their decision somewhat, but it won't have been the full reason. She, Belinda, came with a lot of good recommendations in that group, and I looked at all the comments. There were plenty of naysayers, of course, but there always is some abuse in there. And what an experience. I need some time to organise it in my head, because I can't. I always knew there was something special about this place. You don't get a flat for this price in this postcode without a secret. And Belinda, she didn't even walk through the door before she said, Julia, there's some very odd energy here. She was picking up some aura halo waves. I don't know what the professional name is, but she looked at me so knowingly. I admit I wanted to act a bit on the fence, but In that moment, I definitely felt it too. So, once she came through the door, we sat down at the table, candles in the dark and all. I'm getting rid of the blinds next weekend. I'm not a student anymore, I can afford some decent curtains. But she then grabs both my hands. I think she could sense my resistance. She lowers her voice and says, "Trust." One word. Somehow it relaxes me, opens me up to the possibilities. We talked about the whole thing a bit before, and that's when she mentioned that faith is the main ingredient of a successful connection. They rarely show themselves to those who don't believe. And once the table started shaking, I believed all right. She said, "If you're here, make yourself known." And that was the moment the table shook. I wanted to peek, but she snapped, "Don't look now, not when we're so close." And I didn't dare look after that. She said, "Oh Spirit, if you're here, take my body, use it as a vessel." Suddenly, her voice changed. It became higher pitched with a childlike ring to it. "Hello," she said. I completely froze. "Julia?" I just shook my head. I couldn't speak. "It's nice to have company now." I barely managed to pull myself to ask, "Who are you?" before the medium went completely limp and let go of my hands. So I opened my eyes and I said, "Are you all right?" She looked like she'd just woken up from a car accident. She said, "Did you speak to them?" And I said, yes, I did. And she smiled and she said, "Good. I'm so glad they contacted us." And she adjusted herself and she said, "It looks like you have a child spirit in your house. Don't worry, they're absolutely harmless and a joy to have." I couldn't believe it. Of course, I paid her afterwards and arranged to meet up next week so we can have a longer conversation. Finally got rid of that travel kettle. Painted the cupboards too. Had to go to the shops to get some new wallpaper. The one they had was way too flashy. It's much more of a home now. I always leave something out for it. I don't know if the spirit likes tea, if they drank it during their life, but it's always nicer to know someone's out there for you. I wanted to invite her to the seance on Friday. I really did. These days, we meet in the Italian cafe in the Old Town. It's rare Liz gets a free Saturday morning from the husband and the kid, which I completely understand, but she couldn't stop going on about how busy she is and how difficult it is to juggle work and home life. I could tell that she pitied me from that worried look on her face. "How was the move?" she said. "Fine," I said. I got rid of that old IKEA wardrobe, bought some decent cushions. I have some new accounts in my name only. "I'm happy for you," is what she said. "Glad this whole situation is over and done with." She only asked questions about the move, like I have nothing else going on with me but the divorce. But later, We got to talk about the last time we saw each other on Sophie's birthday, how nice it was, just us girls. And that's why I felt I was safe to ask. She must have thought I was joking because she didn't even put down her wine. I'm sure there is. She said, no, Liz. I said, really? I had a medium check it. Well, she put down her glass and I could already tell she thought I was crazy. You paid someone to tell you have a ghost in your house. Well, with the way she said it, I didn't want to pursue the subject anymore. She somehow read that as an invitation to comment on my mental well-being. I know a good therapist if you ever need to talk about it. If I knew I could never have Charlie, yeah. I stopped her right there. But she kept on pushing and pushing that she's worried that I'm unstable. And then she crossed the line. Do you think the ghost is a child because you and Pete, you know? No, I don't. I just left her with the bill. Didn't even finish my coffee. I didn't feel like spending any more of my time with a skeptic. And frankly, she should have known that the spirit has nothing to do with whatever she thinks she knows about me. I hate it when people try and act like licensed therapists, thinking they've got all the answers because they've connected some dots that weren't even there to connect. What she really hates is that I found something that she could never have. Something that would never fit in her perfect little life. I'm seeing the medium again on Friday. We've been meeting regularly every week now. She said that we can work on it so that I can try and connect to the spirit for longer amounts of time. And I said, will I ever be able to connect to the spirit on my own? And she said that it's highly unlikely because not everybody has a natural gift. But I'm learning more about the spirit and I think that they're warming to me. I even thought they might be there at breakfast this morning, but when I went into the kitchen, the tea was still there. I wonder, is it a lack of communication? Or maybe it's that not all children drink tea. So I picked up some orange juice on my way back from the cafe. Just in case.